All right. Good morning, agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing here at Alta Realty Group. And today we are going to talk about something that's a little bit difficult to talk about. And something that we all face as realtors, objections. So it happens, especially while prospecting, but it's something that if we're prepared for these objections, we know the objections are coming. We know what the conversation is generally going to be about. We're going to be a little bit ahead of the curve. So it's a great idea for realtors to study scripts and to study what kinds of objections come up typically, so we're prepared for them. So before we get into today's presentation, I'm going to bring on Bill Seitz, the corporate broker for Alta Realty Group. Good morning, Bill. How are you doing today?
Been a busy start to the morning, but we're doing all right. Thank you. How's everybody doing today?
Same thing. Busy, 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 but all good stuff, my friend.
Yeah. Well, welcome everybody to our Wednesday meeting. Happy to be with you all. Got a couple updates here, and then we'll get going on our way. I love the objection kind of training, because that's always a tough one for people, right? How to overcome objection or to
It's never easy.
No, it's not. And as sales is an art form. There's so many different components to it, but as people in real estate and, in the things that we do, a little bit can go a long way for turning someone around in your favor, right?
Oh yeah, and it happens all the time, and that's what separates you from another agent that just gives up.
100%. So perseverance is the call of the day, and I'll look forward to hearing what you have to say about that, Kevin. Couple things before we get going. Debbie is not going to be on today, so I will do a quick mortgage update. Wanted to share a couple interesting things out of I got a communication yesterday from the Department of Real Estate, and Attorney General Bonta charges second Los Angeles realtor for price gouging victims of the Eaton fire. So, not that any of our Alta agents would do things like that, but it sounds like they are taking this very seriously, and there are some people out there taking advantage of a very, very unfortunate situation. So just want to remind everybody, price gouging is illegal. We talked about that in, I think, 2 webinars ago. There are constraints on what you can charge for rentals and for other services. So just be mindful of that. And if you have any questions about, that, you just give me a call and we can walk through the scenario. But I'll make sure everybody is not participating in that type of behavior. Not a good look for the brokerage, and certainly not a good look for you as an agent. Potentially could impact your license. So there's that, right? And we also,
Bill, I have one question regarding that, if you don't mind. So I've heard of this situation happening where the realtor is, putting out the price, and others are bidding up that price. They'll say, okay, well, $5,000 a month. I'll come in and I'll give you $6,000 a month. Is that price gouging? Is that subject to the laws that we're discussing?
I think it's more of an agent charging a specific person.
Yeah.
Not letting market forces dictate the terms, but more somebody finding something for somebody and specifically gouging that person as an individual.
Right.
So, just like, like you're selling a property, if people are going into multiple offer and it's going above asking, well, that happens naturally, right? But, gouging on like a personal client, you're taking advantage of a person individually, I think is where they're specifically going with it. Yeah. But that is a good question. That's not really a situation that I have thought of in that context. But, if you have, the problem is, right, we have scarcity in housing now. So all these people have been displaced. They're trying to find places to go that is, some people are coming down to Orange County. Some people are going up to Ventura County. Some people are going who knows where, but there's a scarcity now, so it does create an issue, and you can bet all eyes are going to be on it.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you for clarifying that, because I've heard of that happening, and I didn't want our agents to, fall into that situation and then feel like they are the ones that are gouging. I think that's absolutely just a market thing, and that should be okay. It's unfortunate, then obviously the people that have more money get the house, but that's pretty much the way things roll anyway. But thank you for answering that question.
Yeah, what I would say to that scenario is if you have that type of situation and then you like choose one person and then even go even further and kind of go beyond what, you know what I mean? Like you're like, okay, this guy will pay, you know, you know, 30% above the highest next, and then you're basically gouging that person at that point, right?
Yeah,
So
and you're
it,
actively looking for another person to, if you're like pitting people against each other, that I would say absolutely crosses the line, ethically. So don't do that. But, I think there's somewhere in the middle that is acceptable, right?
definitely just use your best judgment. I mean, usually your best judgment is the right judgment.
Right.
Like I said, if any questions, we can talk through it. And then we sent out the broker Tuesday tip yesterday, which was just some updates on the California landlord tenant laws. So just a couple things, nothing too crazy. I think one of the reminders too is just before and after photos. So landlords are required to take photos of the rental unit before the tenant moves in and after they move out. And this really, you know, obviously a lot of issues arise when deposits are held or the landlord chooses to, take more than they should be for a reasonable wear and tear of a property. And now they want to, quasi do a remodel with the deposit. That's not what it's for, right?
Been
You
there.
know, yeah, we've all been there. But reasonable, wear and tear is really the way. The deposits for significant damage. Part of owning a property is for landlord does have assume some responsibility for upkeep on the property. So, and then the other thing I thought was pretty cool about this one was the credit reporting. So landlords must now offer tenants the option to report positive rental payment history to at least one nationwide credit reporting agency to help tenants build their credit. And landlords, may have exceptions under the Tenant Protection Act, but I thought that was pretty cool, especially for people that have timely payment history. They can use that history to improve their credit, against their basically their rent, their rental history. So that's a positive in my mind. Anything that can help a tenant become a buyer down the road and boost their purchasing power or their credit worthiness, that's a good thing.
Oh yeah. And then I thought that junk fees, of course, that's, that should be standard, but that's great. We're updating the laws. I think it's, great. And just the before and after photos, that should be a no-brainer. I mean, that should be, that shouldn't be a law. You should just do that naturally, right?
No, 100%. 100%. And then lastly, let's just roll into the mortgage world. I was reading yesterday that, well, actually, the Fed, if you just look on the financials this morning, the Fed is meeting for the first time since the new presidency and the new term has started. And they're basically, the current or the new administration is really pushing to lower interest rates. They really want to get interest rates down a fair bit. And there's a little bit of a, stalemate with the Fed so far. And what I was reading yesterday was that they weren't anticipating more than two rate reductions from the Fed. And as we know, and as you have been attending these meetings for a couple months or a couple of years, it doesn't always, the market forces don't always, we saw in right before the election that the Fed cut rates by half a point, but rates actually went up mortgage rate. So, it is a fluid dynamic thing. Generally, they will move in the direction of what the Fed does, but there's other things that are going on in those market forces. And I won't get into that because it can get kind of complex, but
We'll be here
more or
all
less,
day, Bill.
yeah, we do all day. But we'll keep an eye on that, because to me, it really ties back to consumer confidence. It ties back to the economy, ties back to car put out good news, continue to roll in last week to indicate the economy and the housing market ended 2024 with a positive note. Despite the rough start for California, we should see improvement. Blah 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 blah. So it sounds overall the sentiment is positive. The overall sentiment is good. The housing data, there's been more sales, more inventory. So hopefully we'll roll into springtime and have a pretty successful and productive second quarter.
Absolutely. Let's make it happen.
We're here to help.
That's a fact. All right. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate the update. And I did put Debbie Sacconi's direct information in the chat. So if you're looking for mortgage help, anything to bounce off of her, she's there. She's a resource for you guys. So don't hesitate to contact Debbie Sacconi. All right. So let's get into the meat of our presentation today. Let me share a graphic that I created for you guys. Okay. So objections. It almost it makes your skin curl a little bit when you hear objections. Ooh, you don't want my services? Come on, man. So in order to be prepared for these objections, which inevitably come, it's part of the job, it's best to be prepared. So having some of these scripts ready and basically memorizing some of these scripts is going to make you sharp and ready to overcome those objections in the moment, which is the art form, right? You can kind of memorize these scripts, and of course things go off the rails, things go off the script, but at least having some kind of base and some kind of foundation, you're going to be at least more prepared than the next agent that just freezes up like a deer in the headlights. So I'm going to go through a few of these. I've got more of these, but I've chosen a few of these scripts that you can use. And so this first one is not quite, overcoming an objection, but I think it's really important because it'll allow you to kind of set the stage and, get yourself into a good position with quite a few of the, prospects that you'll have. So these are generally, all these are for, first touches and first, so this is for prospecting, and you could, some of them can be used in other situations, but, these are for, someone you don't know and someone that you're trying to break the ice with, which is the hardest thing to do in real estate and in any sales, right? So in this first one, this is just a first call, somebody fills out a form on your website, or you get a lead through whatever source it happens to be. So here's the scenario is, this is like an internet buyer seller lead, doesn't really matter. I've got two different scripts, one for buyer, one for seller, and you'll figure out, which is which in the first, couple minutes of the call, right? And so, 45% of these dials should result in offering this random person what we call an irresistible bribe. So the goal is to build some trust with somebody that you have no idea, they don't know you, you don't know them, but trust is the basis of a business relationship. So you get this person's phone number, or they fill out the contact form, and you got to follow up, right? That's one of the main things. You can't just do prospecting and not follow up. That doesn't work. So this is like the first call, right? And so the person answers the phone and you say, "Hi, is this, so-and-so?" "Yep, this is me." And so you say, "Hey, this is Kevin Lauren with Alta Realty Group. The reason I'm calling is it looks like you were checking out one of our listings on the website. or whatever it was. And we always follow up to see if you have all of your questions answered and to see if you needed any other help. Then you pause. And inevitably, that prospect's going to say something like, yeah, I got everything I need, beat it, right? That's expected. So that's the big objection, and they're always going to put up that insurmountable wall, right? They're going to say, I'm good. I don't want to talk to anybody that's just randomly calling me. And I don't want to especially talk to a realtor, right? We get that all the time. So you say, okay, no problem. But before I let you go, can I ask, whenever you find the home you eventually want to buy, will you be listing your current home for sale or will you be keeping it? So at that point, you are, you're asking a very poignant question. They can also just hang up on you. That happens too. So you're out of luck there. But what'll typically happen is they'll answer in one of two ways, right? And this, will immediately uncover whether the prospect has a home to sell, which by the way, the studies show 46% of the time they have, a buyer basically also has a home to sell. That's massive. That's why it's a great idea to look for seller leads with buyers. So prospect says, nope, I'm a first-time home buyer, or I'm an investor, I'm currently renting, all of those different things. So if that's the case, you're going to go down to this little buyer track scenario, right? Or, they're going to say something like, yeah, we can't afford two mortgages. We just want to find our new home first and then buy a home, right? And then sell our home. So in the first scenario, where they're like, no, I don't have one. I'm just a first-time buyer. I'm just looking, or, I'm an investor. So you say, okay, well, we offer two new services for buyers. We can set you up to receive listings via email and text as soon as they come on the market. You'll often see them before most agents do. Would that be helpful? Perfect. Well, give me just a second and I'll set you up. But first, describe to me your dream home. So if that's the case, you're going to be able to, with your Sierra interactive CRM, you're going to be able to set those people up with a market alert and or an e-alert. So let me just show you guys that for those of you that are not on program 2 yet and don't have a CRM system with us. So when you have a lead, you're able to set them up with a specific search. So in this case, this particular person is looking for homes in Laguna Niguel, and they're looking for homes between 1 million and 3 million. I know that's a big range, but this is kind of a test. Also, what you're able to do is set these people up with a market update. So let me show you what those look like. So this exact information will be emailed to that client, and you can set it up on whatever frequency you like. They can have daily updates. They can have bi-weekly updates, monthly updates. So whatever the client prefers, and as you're, in this conversation, you're going to ask them, how often would you like to receive these updates, right? And so that is a massive, what we call a touch, right? You're automating these touches, especially if it's daily. Yeah, I'm hot. I got to get this, I got to find a place. No problem. We're going to make sure that you get daily updates, right? If anything comes on the market, you're going to know about it. So the other thing that you're able to do, especially if it's a seller, and even buyers and sellers will benefit from this information, you're able to show them a market update. So the market update shows active properties in that person's area and in their price range. It shows coming soon, no coming soon, under contract, plenty of those, and sold properties. So that is the kind of information that a seller wants to see, because they can see what the other properties are selling for in their area that are like properties, right? So these touches, these automated touches, they go really far. I'll show you a graphic in a second here that shows that, most people that start looking for a property on the internet, they will get one or they will sell one within 3 months, right? So 3 to 6 months basically, but you have that window. And so I'll show you a little bit more later. But anyway, those are really important tools to be able to provide to your buyers and sellers. So let me get back to my graphic that I created for you guys. Where do I have to go? There we go. All right. So this, once we have gone through that part, we're still on the buyer track here. So we're going to give them, that automated e-search or market update. Next, we can help you get pre-qualified. We have a partnership with the best mortgage team in California. That's Clearview Mortgage. That's Debbie Saccone. They shop all available rates to guarantee the lowest rate. And if anybody can get you approved, it's them. And that's absolutely a fact. They can get you a fast pre-approval after a 15-minute conversation. So boom, you set them up with Debbie Saccone, Clearview Mortgage, and away you go. So the only thing is that they don't accept new walk-in clients, but they'll accept referrals from me. So if I were to give them your number and have them call you within the next hour, would you take their call? So that's how you would respond to someone that says, yeah, no, I'm just looking for, to buy. Great. Now, if they say, if they say, I do have, I'm looking for a place, but yeah, no, I'm going to sell my home when once I find a good place. Then we go down to the seller track down here. So you say, okay, cool. Well, we have a new service where we do a free in-depth valuation so you know what you would net if you sold it in the next year. We use 50 different data points. And this is just, you're going to be providing them a very in-depth CMA. I do have a great new CMA tool that I've been starting to use. It's called Bulletproof CMA. And so it's every bit as accurate as a professional appraisal, but appraisals cost between $800 and $1,000, and this is free. Would that be helpful? Prospect, well, sure, right? Me, all right, well, I'll set this up and let me know if you have any trouble. My number is blah, blah, blah. And then you will, of course, send that person that in-depth CMA from Bulletproof CMA, and you will follow up. So that is a really, really easy script that does yield results. And you're gonna lessen the times that they tell you, no, I don't want to talk to you, or they hang up on you. All right, so you're actually providing value in both of those situations. You're providing something of very high value to that prospect. So occasionally, a prospect will say, oh, I'm just going to go with the same agent again, right? So I think we're just going to, use that same agent that we used last time. So you're going to say, can I tell you one reason why that worries me? Isn't that a provocative question? Sure. So then you say, your former agent did his best to sell the home, right? And I'm sure he or she showed you a plan that involved telling everyone in his sphere of influence and brokerage about your home, marketing to everyone he knew, right? But he did that and it failed. It's time to reach out to a new circle of people to find a person who is willing to pay top dollar for your home. I'd love to come by tonight and discuss how we can get your home sold. So that's one option. Or you can say, I respect that loyalty. As a matter of fact, should I ever fail to sell a home, I hope that my client does me the same favor. Ooh, that's deep. Just out of curiosity, when that agent came out to speak with you again about relisting your property, I'm wondering what new sales strategies and tactics they shared with you that are going to do this time what they failed to do the first time to get your home sold. So those things, that is really provocative. And I love, posing those questions to prospects. And it really does break the ice. We didn't really discuss that, the prospect says. Or we're going to just reduce the price. Wrong answer, prospect. So so you have to say something like this. Are you sure it was overpriced? I could run a CMA for you for a second opinion. It can't hurt. I'd hate to see you lose all that money. So, really provocative stuff. And you have to be that way with these prospects because, they have no real reason to, talk to somebody out of the blue. But if you're asking the right poignant questions, you're going to break the ice. You're going to get them to think, and you're going to set yourself up for at least more success than not doing these things and not being prepared. So another one is, we've come across this a lot these days. You're going to have to justify your commission, right? And rather than going through some long-winded, description of how you're going to, do this and that, it's more important to keep it short and sweet. So the prospect's going to say something like, well, another agent said that they're going to charge me only X. What do you charge? And you're going to say something like this. So you're asking me about how much it's going to cost to sell the home and if I'm flexible on that, right? The most important question for you, though, is what's important to you? The amount that you net or the amount of commissions you pay? Ooh, big one, right? That's going to get them thinking. So then you're going to come back with, that's why I want to come by and show you a proven plan to show you how to net the most from your home. What's better for you? Tuesday at blah, 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 or Wednesday at blah, blah, blah. And so this part is, let me just touch on this. What's better for you? This is sales 101 right here. This is forcing the issue. You're not asking, can I come by sometime? You're providing an actual time and date. That is way more effective than maybe I'll come by sometime. That sounds weak. This is like, I have a room for you on my schedule and I'm going to be there, right? Way more powerful. So, and again, we're not getting into all the, well, I do this and that, and I'm a professional. You're just keeping it short and sweet. You could go on all day and nobody has the time, especially on a first call, nobody has the time to listen to that kind of crap. So don't do it. You're not going to be as successful as keeping it concise, posing the right provocative questions that gets the seller or the prospect to think. So very, very important. And then the last one that I'll go through, and I'll send you guys a few more of these in the replay, but the last one I'll go through is, I'd just rather sell it on my own, right? So this is, setting the stage here. We're trying to set a listing appointment, even when a customer is convinced they're going to sell it by themselves, which we know, statistics show that I think it's about 80+% of the time they're not successful in selling that home on their own. So, so that the prospect says, I think I'm just going to sell it on my own. So you say, no problem, that's great. What do you plan on selling it for? I don't know, or X amount. Okay, well, we do a free pricing report, no strings attached. We can set an appointment. And the nice thing is, it'll be more of a complimentary lesson than a sales pitch. Super easy, right? You're the easygoing person, no problem. So if you like the things that I have to say, you can incorporate them into your own strategy. And if you're really impressed, you can put me to work to get top dollar for your house. Boom. So when can I come by and look at the home? What's better for you? Tuesday at blah, 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 or Wednesday at 5 p.m., right? So again, we are, making a definitive date, a definitive time, way more powerful than just, I'll be a buy sometime, right? So anytime you're talking to clients, always have a time and date ready to go on your calendar. You have your calendar up, on your computer or on your phone, and you're ready. Exactly before you even get on the phone that you have time at this slot to make that happen. So really, really important stuff. So, Bill, I know we have run out of time and we've gone through quite a bit, but any quick takeaways from you on, creating these scripts and being prepared for objections?
No, no, there's some good ones in there. I also like the last one, the person that wants to sell it, on their own or potentially sell it on their own.
Hmm.
Um, is you can also, you could, if the seller's like, well, I'd like to sell it. I mean, I'm going to sell it on my own, or at least try to sell it on my own, blah, blah, blah. We know it's like high 80s or 90% of sellers get tired and they end up listing, right?
Hmm.
You can offer also, that's great. Do you mind if I prepare a custom flyer for you? And if I can help you find a buyer, would you pay a compensation for me finding that buyer? And so you're really aligning yourself as an ally, right? And kind of like you said too, like you're there to either to provide the market report, provide some nice flyers, and you're like, yeah, let me help you. Because when they get tired, who are they going to? They're going to go straight to you. It's going to be the first phone call. And a lot of agents that work for sale by owners, they do exactly that.
That's fantastic. I love that strategy. And then also, you're just giving them something of value. You're not expecting anything in return, quote unquote. But I think that that's a really great way to establish some trust.
Yeah, and I think too, once you get like the scripts for me are always a little bit, you know, if you read them straight off the page, they sound a little bit, contrived. But
For
I think the more that you work with them, or the more you adopt, you just kind of you get your own. You'll develop your own style and your own way of saying the same thing, but through your sincerity and your intention. And so I think that happens naturally. So at first, if you're not comfortable with them, they sound maybe a little bit, you're just like reading off of literally a script, but you
no,
get
please
you'll
don't do
adapt.
that. Yeah. No, and all of these things are meant to be kind of like templates for you to expand on and to put your own spin on them. And yes, please don't read them, verbatim like that. Um, be prepared, right? Use this as a base and go over it over and over and over again and use your own language, you know, understand the basics of what these scripts say, and then you make them your own because you're going to sound like, a robot if you're trying to read these things verbatim, you're out, right? So that's a really good point, Bill. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just like anything. It's like practice makes perfect, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that was it's a good training today, Kevin. I think we all go through that at times, and it's always a good reminder to have a support mechanism, and how to just train yourself to not just to give up at the first sign of defeat.
Yeah, don't fold. Use these as tools so you can be successful in the way that you overcome objections. So I think that's the big takeaway from today. So anything else, Bill?
No, that's it. I hope everybody has a great rest of their week, and let's get out there. And I think the market should be picking up here the next couple weeks, so let's be ready for it.
Absolutely. And one minor note for me personally, I'm having surgery on my distal bicep tendon was torn. So I'm having surgery tomorrow. I'll be out for the day and probably a little groggy on Friday. So hopefully be back in action on Monday and ready to rock and roll. But I'm going to be one-armed for a month or so, and then I've got about 3 months of rehab. But
Well,
um,
good luck with that, buddy. We'll wish you the best and get that thing taken care of.
I appreciate it. All right. With that said, agents, get out there, make it a great week and a productive week. And we will see you all on the webinar next Wednesday. Bye-bye.